Hi everyone, I'm Jon Friedberg and welcome to my show Under the Gun. We are in week 4, I believe, of the World Series, and the action is getting pretty hot here at the Rio. I would say that the energy level is like really surging this year compared to other years, or at least the last few years, and the turnouts have been great. Personally, I've played in 7 events now, and I have cashed in 2, and I think as far as dollar for dollar, I think I'm right about even, which I'm pretty happy about since last year I didn't have any cashes and I've already had 2 this year, so I'm pretty happy, I guess, and I probably have about another 10 more events to go, including the main event, which obviously we all look forward to. Now, I did mention something last show about how this show was going to involve pretty women and guns, but unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts with the World Series, that episode will be probably the next one, but I don't want to promise anything because it's tough, really tough to do some scheduling with all these events and so many players, you know, in different tournaments and different starting times and day twos, etc. But I did promise some Alaska pictures from my cruise that I got back from last week, and I wanted to show some of the really pretty scenic views that we saw from the ship and off the ship. So I have a few pics here. The first one is an area where we got woken up by the captain talking in the morning on the microphone, and he basically said, you know, if you go outside and you look out your windows now, you'll see that we are surrounded by icebergs. So as you can see in this picture, it's kind of tough to see, but you're looking, the camera was pointed over the edge of the ship looking down, and that's actually an iceberg floating right next to the boat. And we were in this area that was completely covered in ice, and I thought that was pretty spectacular. And then the second picture here, looking off in the distance from that same spot, was this huge glacier, and it's tough to make out the size from this picture, but I'm guessing this was, you know, easily 300 or 400 feet tall, and these giant chunks of ice, as we were watching it, were like falling off into the water, and it sounded like thunder, and the splashes were just volcanic. It was really amazing to see. And of course, all the ice surrounding the ship in the first photo are all pieces of the glacier that had fallen off and were just kind of floating around. This next picture was some hike we did. I forget which stop it was, unfortunately, but we basically walked up to another glacier where right next to it there was this huge waterfall. So this picture is of that waterfall, which was pretty awesome. And last, and what I was just the most fascinated by, was anybody who took science or atmospheric science in high school or college might remember learning that the sun at the North Pole basically never sets in the wintertime, or sorry, in the summertime, due to the the tilt of the Earth on its axis. And we were very close to the North Pole, being up in northern Alaska, or I guess southern Alaska, but being up in Alaska. So this last picture was the horizon in the sky at 2 in the morning, and as you can see here, that looks like a like an 8 o'clock p.m. here in Vegas. That was 2 a.m. Pretty spectacular. My guests for the show today are 2 longtime internet players turned live pros. Both of them have been absolutely crushing internet since as long as I've been playing, and I'm one of the dinosaurs. So I've been friends with them, I think, since around like 2003, and they've both been doing very well for themselves. Now they're, of course, on the live circuit and have also been having success on that as well. My first guest will be Tim West, who online his name is known as Teammate420, and alongside of him I will also have John Van Fleet, whose name is Apestyles, and we're going to talk about some accomplishments that they've had recently, which actually don't have a whole lot to do with poker, although certainly what they have done does roll over into creating better opportunities for success in their poker career, and that is both of them have picked up exercising and a better sort of eating and workout regimen, and both of them have lost a lot of weight. And as soon as I get them on the show, I'm going to show a picture of what they looked like about a year ago, and you can see a huge difference for both of them. It's really, really impressive to see how good they've both done. But first, I want to talk about my Under the Gun challenge. Well, most of my updates on my Under the Gun challenge, which as you recall are my attempt to win $100,000 playing low stakes, no limit cash games on UB, and also to win my seat into the main event on UB. Well, most of my updates have been related to cash games. I, again, from the last episode, have not played any cash games this week because of my World Series activity. However, I have made some progress towards winning my seat in the main event on UB. Now, this last Sunday, UB had an awesome opportunity for people to win seat into the main event. They had a 50-seat satellite, or mega, they called it, and I played in that. I actually won my seat into that on a $60 satellite. So I played in the $500 buy-in, but I couldn't get anything going in that, so I was not one of the lucky 50 winners. However, there's step tournaments, which basically you can buy into as little as like 10 cents, and if you win that, you go into the next one and the next one, and ultimately you can play in a single table tournament to win your seat. Well, I have now, after starting on step, I think 4 or 5, I've now advanced all the way to step 9. So I'm currently on step 9. If I can win this table, I will then go to step 10, and then once I'm in step 10, hopefully I can win that table and therefore win my seat into the World Series of Poker main event. So I'm basically, like nine players away from winning my seat. So I haven't used that ticket yet to play, but I'm going to basically wait until I'm in a perfect mindset. I'm going to sit down, log on to UB, use the ticket, and I'm going to win my seat into the main event. And then, of course, as you recall, which I mentioned several times prior, UB is adding $5,000 per person that qualifies on UB and shows up to play in the main event. Of that money, they're splitting between players that don't cash and players that do cash. And I'm not going to get into all the numbers right now, but basically, if you win your seat on UB and you show up to play in the main event, even if you don't cash in the main event, you're still going to walk away with at least, if I'm doing the math right, about $3,000 or $3,500, give or take, depending on the number of people that cash and don't cash. But it's a pretty sweet deal, so I highly recommend getting involved in that. Jump in those step tournaments, and if there's any more satellites on UB, hop in those too. If you don't already have an account on UB, check out my website, www.jonfriedberg.com, and from there you can sign up and get a new account, and you too can win your seat to the main event right here on UB. Well, with the intros behind us now, let's bring out our guests, Mr. Tim West and John Van Fleet. Tim, John, thanks for coming on the show. Glad to have you guys here, of course. So if we take a quick look at the before pictures and the current pictures of both Tim West and John Van Fleet, both of you guys have lost a ton of weight. You both look great. And Tim, when I first saw you at the beginning of the series, you came up to me and shook my hand, and I'm sure you could tell I didn't even know who you were. I literally didn't recognize you. I just thought you were some random person coming up to say hi, and then you said you were its teammate, and I was like, wow. But anyway, so both of you guys, as you can see in the before pictures and now, have lost a ton of weight recently. You both look great. What prompted you to kind of get in shape and lose some weight, and how has it affected, both your life and your poker game?
Well, for me personally, I started to have health issues. I started to have nervous system problems. I started to get my feet went numb. I started to have bad issues that you should only have. I saw a neurologist. You should be seeing a neurologist when you're 60 years old, not when you're 23. So I knew for the longest time that I was so unhealthy that it was going to catch up to me and that I might not be able to live the long and prosperous life that I was hoping to live. And eventually I just realized I wasn't going to find Mrs. Right by being unhealthy, super fat me. And I wasn't going to live long enough to do that. So I got motivated and I started running. I cut out all sodas. I cut out all fast food. I cut out really bad desserts. I didn't go the straight, count calories, count carbs, count this, count that. I wanted to go for the more everything I was putting in my body was healthy and try and balance my diet as well as I can with exercise, which was I'd run 1 to 2 miles 4 or 5 times a week.
Cool. How about you, John?
Well, a lot of that I relate to. when I came back from Vegas, I was just like fatter and broker than I'd ever been, and like I was, walking up some stairs, I was breathing like Tony Soprano, and just like I was like popping buttons and everything I owned, and, like I don't know, I just came back and I was like, all right, like I'm 28 and I'm like fat and washed up, like it's okay to be like fat and rich, or like like washed up and in shape, but I can't be both. And so I don't know, I just got really motivated. For me, I had a personal trainer off and on, but I just got really into working out like 6 or 7 times a week, almost too much. And at first, I'm kind of an all or nothing guy, and so I did something that's not necessarily what I'd recommend. I cut out all carbs at first, and I mean, obviously didn't eat fast food or anything like that, but and that helped me drop a lot of weight. But as I got disciplined, I started balancing my diet, eating more organic, and eating mainly just lean meat, veggies, and fruits, and with working out as well, and like I feel so much better. I have so much more endurance, and just like it's night and day.
Day and night.
Now, a lot of poker players, especially successful ones, as well as a lot of professions, people that are successful in anything that they do tend to be very driven and oftentimes even obsessive over what their goal is, whether it's getting promotions in their job or becoming a better poker player. It's easy to sort of channel that same devotion into other things and more positive things like working out a lot or eating right. But it kind of like you said, you can also overdo it and become too obsessed and spend too much time doing it. So it is all about finding a healthy balance in whatever you do. But how do you feel that it's affected? Obviously, you both look better. I'm sure it's raining women now everywhere you go. But
Yeah.
I mean, how has it affected your poker game directly? Because I know a lot of people, especially online people, they just eat chips all day and eat fast food. What would you recommend to just the average poker player, and how has it affected your game? Being in better shape now.
Since I got in shape, I don't know if the two are correlated, but I guess I'm more clear-headed, and I've just been upswinging like in poker like I've never had before. And as far as like what I would recommend, there are plenty of healthy snacks and things you can have throughout the day. I eat a lot, like I eat like 6 or 7 times a day, and usually fruit, some kind of like
Almonds or something.
Yeah, almonds are great.
Yeah.
And even if you're out at a place at eating out, like you can order the thing that's best for you on the menu. There's really no excuse for eating that if you're dedicated for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like cutting out bad food. I feel like your body. I mean, for risk of sounding cheesy, your body is like a temple, and you have to support that, and you have to fuel your body. I eat oatmeal. Oatmeal is one of the better things I like to eat in the morning. It starts my day. It's easy to burn. It's really like it's always been something that I've been told is great. It's a great breakfast, and that idea of kind of like somebody made a joke. What I was eating looked like Matrix food. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it is. Like sometimes you want to fuel your body, even though the stuff you're eating tastes terrible. When I kicked all these like Snickers bars, when I kicked all these things that I thought were decent fuel and food for me, like power bars, stuff like that. There's a lot of misconceptions in our society that certain things are healthy for you, certain things are better for you, and I think everybody has to have their own thing that works for them. And for me, it was baby steps and making myself feel as good as possible. When you work out, when you go running, if you come off, you're not like, ooh, I want to go get a burger. You're like, ooh,
Exactly.
You crave like, ooh, I want like a nice piece of chicken and some veggies. It's like, it sounds weird, but you really crave what your body needs when you're doing that. When it's all about your body and it's not about you and what you crave and what your taste buds want, when it's about you, when it's about like your well-being.
Plus, when you, at least I find that if I have like a, In-N-Out burger, which I almost never have, but, let's say I have In-N-Out burger one day and then I go to the gym that day, I'm not nearly as productive or strong or, have endurance or anything as if I would have had like, whatever, chicken, veggies, or rice, or something more healthy. So you really, like you're saying, you really come out of the gym craving what your body needs to do well at the gym, and it's never like chili dog type stuff.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with the oatmeal. Like this morning, oatmeal and egg whites pretty much every morning for me, and it's like, it starts my day. And I agree with that. Like getting used to things that don't taste as good. I mean, I just view it kind of as like nutritionizing, and I like to feel good, and I know that I will feel good if I eat, chicken and veggies, and I'm gonna feel like crap if I eat some fried food, and so.
And not to say you can't ever have fried food. That's the thing. That's like something that people don't understand about dieting and about living a healthy lifestyle. Is you have to make changes that you can afford. You can make lifestyle changes that you have, that you're comfortable making. Like some people can't just drop sodas. They can't just drop. It's like in the back of their head, they're like, there's no chance I'm ever gonna stop drinking soda. And then people move to like diet soda. Well, it's not. It's about, you know what I mean? It's like,
I got a funny story about that because it was either September or November. I think it was actually September. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm the only time I ever drink soda is during a meal, and every meal I have soda. And I only eat like 2 meals a day, so I would have like a Coke or Dr. Pepper for lunch and one for dinner. Well, I wanted to just see if I could go without it for a week. So I switched to apple juice, which still gave me the sweet crave, because I kind of like salty food, so I like the sweet salty balance.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and for like a week, or for the first few days, I just drank apple juice, and then after that, I switched to water, and I noticed. Well, I guess to sum it up, that was like in September. I still have not had a soda since then.
That's fantastic.
Actually, there was one day when I was like having a blood sugar issue, so I drank a few sips of one, but I still haven't had a soda, and what I've noticed is, number one, like you said, I didn't think I could ever, for the rest of my life, go a meal without a Coke. But number two is, you very quickly adjust to whatever you're drinking, whether it's water or juice or milk, whatever. But third, and I never realized this was happening to me, I would always crash after a meal, and I would think, that's because I ate too much, I'm in a food coma. I didn't realize it was from the effects of the caffeine and the sugar kind of bringing me down afterwards. So now I only drink water with meals, and after I eat, unless I overeat, I feel great. I have energy. I'm not like wanting to fall asleep. Especially in poker, I don't like eat lunch and then cave for the first 2 levels. I eat lunch, before we start, and then I feel great.
Yeah, I used to always come back from dinner break just like dead.
Yeah.
And now I busted like an hour before the day ended the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna go play some cash. I have so much more energy and endurance, like I said earlier.
So with that behind us, we're good on the food and the energy and everything. How has it affected you? You said you wanted to look better to find Mrs. Right. Have you found her yet?
I'm close. I mean, you're a long ways away from finding Mrs. Right, but I'm a lot closer than I was a year ago when I was feeling like dog poop and I was looking like I might keel over. I swear it's really sad and it's a little morbid, but I was talking to a friend and I said to him, he hadn't seen me in a while, and I said, if you heard that I died from some complication or something, it wouldn't have been surprising. And that alone is scary. You know what I mean? To say that I could have, say, Tim had a heart attack. Be like, God. And for somebody to be like, God, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's that really, thinking about that just was like, wow. You know what I mean? And it's about living life and it's about moving forward. And Mrs. Right, it could be there, it could not be there.
I mean,
but
you probably walk into a bar now and you just feel good about yourself, and you have you have balls to approach people because you probably feel better about yourself and more confident in your looks and whatnot. And
And you get looks too.
Yeah.
It's when you're like in shape, you're more attractive. I mean, it's just how it is, and it's about how you feel
There's like
more than anything.
12 girls outside the room right now. Wow. Hold on, we'll be there soon. We'll be there soon. We got the cameras rolling, so we'll be good to go for that. So before we head out of here, Jon, tell us about your book. I know you've been working on a book or a couple of books with Risen and Pearl Jam.
Yeah, we just came out with Winning Poker Tournaments One Hand at a Time, Volume 2. It's doing really well on Amazon. Put a lot of work into it, and I think there's a lot of great information there for generally, I would say, intermediate to advanced players who really want to step their game up.
And so this is part 2, you said?
Yeah, part 2.
So what's different from part 1? How?
Part 1 was before the money, and part 2 is in the money, and it's just one tournament. While part 1 was separate hands that we had chosen. So for each of us, the tournament that we won, and it's consecutive hands.
Oh, okay.
And this
Cool.
and your newer book also addresses, like the newer age of poker and how things are going these days, as opposed to like 3 or 4 years ago when things were completely different.
Yeah, I would say as far as online poker that it's one of the most up to date books that there could be.
Yes.
Regarding trends and how people play in general.
I've heard good things about the book for sure from close friends of mine.
And we do have a picture of the cover handy, I believe, if we could cut to that real quick.
I just want to say that it's really hard to kickstart your life and to kickstart like a regimen where you think you're going to better yourself. It's like impossible. And when you have all these negative influences around you, like Pizza Huts and all these things that are so convenient and so easy for you to get, it's tough. But all you have to do is make an active choice to better yourself. And if you start with baby steps, like I always make the joke, there's a movie called What About Bob? And it's baby steps. And that's what I did. I took baby steps when I was out on the track. When I first ran, my first week I was running, it was probably one of the more embarrassing things I've had to do in front of anybody. But you have to start somewhere and you have to do something. And like in this country, obesity is a big problem, and there's a reason why it's a big problem. And if you research why, like I'm not as educated as I'd like to be, but I will be educated on those facts. Like very soon, I will take a lot of time to research. And it's good to know what's around you and to understand what's going on. And if you want to make a conscious choice to do certain things when you're informed, that's one thing. But if you're not informed and you don't have like an idea of what you need to be choosing, then that makes it tough, and that's almost like you're forced into a certain lifestyle.
Awesome. Well, great advice. Best of luck in the rest of the series, and thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Jon. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Under the Gun. I certainly enjoyed hearing about Tim and Jon's success in losing weight, and wish them the best of luck in parlaying that success in their poker careers. And I know, at least for me, when I feel good, I play well, and I'm sure that is the case for most. So remember, tune in next week, and like I said, I will try to get the episode that I promised last week. I'm 99.9% sure that we should be able to have that one ready. And until then, enjoy yourselves. Good luck in the World Series if you're playing. And remember, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jon Friedberg. And of course, if you don't have an account on UB, check out my website, www.jonfriedberg.com, and I'll see you guys next week.